Dan il-programm qed jiġi mwassal lilkom bix-xewqa tajba ta' Transport Malta, Mapfre Middle Sea, Esprit Yachting, Mediterranean Yacht Sales Limited, Rolex.
Rolex Middle Sea Race 2015. L-iktar tellieqa importanti fl-Ewropa u ċertament waħda mill-aħjar tad-dinja li aħna nozz iddedikajna lill-Arta Podesta. Ġiet u spiċċat, għaddiet. Illum se nlaqgħukom ma' ftit minn nies Maltin li ħadu sem fit-tellieqa biex nisimgħu dak li t-tellieqa kif rawha huma minn fuq id-dajes tagħhom. Naraw x'jgħidulna.
Rigward il-Rolex Middle Sea Race 2015. Dis-sena konna preparati tajjeb ħafna, kif konna fis-snin oħra. Li nista' ngħid li 4 ġimgħat qabel it-tellieqa ma kienniex arblu, ma kienniex rudder, ma kienniex sail drive, lajna kollox, għamilna ħafna xogħol fuq il-boat. Kont naqra dispjaċut mill-mod li it-teklijajna r-race għax kellna pjan u ċertu ħinijiet ma żammejniex ma dan il-pjan. Tinqabad friħ ħafif u l-opponents tiegħek jaħarbu. Mill-lat ta' teamwork ħdimna sew, biddilna l-luħijiet f'waqthom kull darba li rajna li kien hemm bżonn li isma' dal-luħ wasal li nibdluh ma nitilfux ħin, naqbdu nippreparaw luħ ieħor intellawh fuq id-dekk, inqabdu kollox meta jkun lest intellawh. Jiġifieri minn dak l-att ma għadniex lura, kull darba ipprovajna li nottomizzaw l-uħlijiet li kellna b'bord. Kien hemm ħafna drabi fej inqbadna bla riħ, tagħmel siegħa satej bla riħ, taf li l-boats l-oħra mixin 4 knots, inti qed tagħmel half a knot jew xejn, u irnexxinna kemm il-darba naqbduhom u nerġgħu nġibu l-pożizzjoni tagħna. Sfortunatament ma nafx eżatt x'ġara, peress li ma tkunx inti navigator tkun qed issuq biss ma tafx x'kienu r-raġunijiet, imma kien hemm ħafna drabi fej stajna immorru aħjar. Biss dawn l-affarijiet jiġru l kulħadd u minn tellieqa l-oħra dejjem tipprova tibni fuq l-iżbalji li għamilt it-tellieqa qabel. Ippuxjajni ħafna l-boat u imxiet sew, konna preparati ħafna mill-aspett ta' anke ikel fuq il-boat, shift systems, ilma, kollox konna preparati tajjeb. Biss konna ftit sfortunati fej inqbadna bla riħ. L-aħjar żminijiet tas-sailing tiegħi kienu nintellaq mal-Yacht Club meta konna għadna fil-premises l-antika, kien ikonna tlielaq kull nhar ta' Sibt. Dik kienet ħaġa li kienet sabiħa ħafna soċjalment tintaqa' man-nies wara r-race u minn dakinhar tar-race diġà taħseb għall-ġimgħa d-dieħla li ħadd terġa' tmur ittellaq magħhom. Ukoll kelli l-aħjar żminijiet meta kelli sailing school għax dik ovvjament meta kien ikun hemm wisq irieħ biex tgħallem, stajt toħroġ u tissejlja u tagħmel filgħodu tissejlja waqt in-nies l-oħra jkunu għax-xogħol. Dik għalija kienet l-isbaħ żminijiet. U anki mindu sirtna fil-Mr. Zonkenstein li qed għamilt l-aħħar 11 il-middle series miegħu minn dakinhar law is-saving għalija sar isu iżjed teamwork, iżjed isek it solidified fis-sens li taħdem bħala team. Tipprepara l-boat, taħdmu flimkien, kulħadd jaħdem flimkien biex l-imbirka middle series forsi xi darba nirpuha.
So this is Joseph Schultheis summing up the 2015 Rolex Middle Sea race. So we, as always, try to start quite prepared for this Middle Sea race. We have a crew, half Maltese, half international guys, and I think they added up their crew experience to something about 70-75 Middle Sea races this year. So what happened during the race is there was a low wind start, and we tried to get out of the harbor quite fast. We managed that. Going up to Sicily, we could come into quite a lead, but as always, the Strait of Messina is kind of tricky. So we were caught up in the middle, where some of the other boats behind us saw that and escaped to the Italy side and sneaked through to the street. Unfortunately, we lost a few places, and especially Vikesha, another XP44, was able to escape more than 10 miles to Palermo. Finally, we were able to catch them again, but at this stage of the race, we were kind of disappointed that we couldn't catch the wind they had. Going through to Stromboli, we were able to go along with the crowd and went perhaps a little bit in too narrow, so we waited a little bit too long there. But Stromboli and Messina are always in corners where you have to see where you get your wind, and till this moment we were quite happy that we could be in the position we were. Going further to Palermo, this was the first time we were staying around there and waiting for wind, catching Vikesha on the way to Favignana. But this was a tricky situation for everybody, I think. There was a north-westerly coming in and the southerly wind as well. So there was a kind of wind shear with the current against. And so we had the boats on two takes going almost the same direction, and so tricky for all of us to get through this wind shear before Favignana. The fun started afterwards when there was the way to jibe out a little bit to Pantarella, find the wind going to Pantarella there, mostly there with A2 kite, and so arriving there, again, most of the boats stopped. We found the solution going a little bit more out, and unlike the other boats who stuck around Pantarella, we managed it quite well. Nevertheless, Artie was following on our heels and being a little bit more on the lee side of ourselves. We both were escaping to Lampedusa compared to the other guys being more north of us. So finally we had a wind shift. This was the only wind shift we could see in the forecast, which was correct. All over the race the forecasts were not very reliable, so we were a little bit cautious whether this wind shift would go through, but finally this was the first and only one which was predictable, and so with another tack we were able to reach Lampedusa ahead of all the other Maltese crews at that time. So going downwind to Malta then, with wind shift to the right, we had quite tricky conditions. We lost a kite. The A2 went into the water and is now in 3 pieces. and seeing all that, we had to give up the first leading place to Artie doing this leg, and we were able to finish at about 3 o'clock in the morning on Thursday morning.
Rolex Middle Series fuq Unika 2015, rajnija li kellna start tajjeb ħafna, it-telliqa bdiet brieħ vera ħafif. Aħna trajn Messina waqafna għal ħafna sigħat, xi 8 sigħat wifqin f'nofs ta' baħar bla rieħ. Kif xiġna minn Messina dit-telliqa ittik iċ-ċans li tarġa' taqbad il-flotta tiegħek u konna qed niffollowjaw id-dajjes li huma il-kompetituri tagħna. Kif dorna ma' Stromboli arġajna tqajna kollha flimkien, it-telliqa raġat bdiet. Nżilna telliqa niġru lejn Favinjana. Kif dorna fil-Vinjana nżilna niġru brieħ tajjeb lejn Pantellerija. Ir-rieħ raġa waqaf hemmhekk u arġajna tqajna kollha hemmhekk. Kombinazzjoni l-Maltin kollha arġajna tqajna kollha flimkien. U t-telliqa tagħna l-kompetizzjoni Maltija hemmhekk bdejna nimpuxxew biex wieħed jipprova jgħaddi lil ieħor. Kif dorna ma' Lampedusa sibna baħar sabiħ u rieħ minn wara, konna qed niġru u spiċċajna f'pożizzjoni mhux ħażin, u spiċċajna third in class f'ORC. U vera kuntenti bir-riżultati tagħna ta' dis-sena.
Fuq Artie, kull crew huwa tajjeb in his own right. Ġifieri kull sailor, kull crew member li għandna board huwa top class sailor. Imma il-dimensjoni għax għandek crew konna 9 abbord, xi ħadd irid jagħmel final decision. Issa għandna wieħed abbord li ngħidulu tactician li da jieħu l-idejajiet, l-opinjoni taż-żewġ watch captains li huma jiena li u Sebastian Ripard. U da speċ da jitfaħħar ġo borma waħda joħroġ f'deċiżjoni li ħajkun fl-aħħar mill-aħħar l-aħjar deċiżjoni ġifieri. Mhux bias da, mhux ħajjeħu d-deċiżjoni tiegħi biss ngħidlu mur dik in-naħa jew ta' ieħor mur dik in-naħa. Da ħajjieħu kollox in consideration ukoll id-dajes tal-competition li huma madwarna u jagħmel il-call. Mhux dejjem u l-aħjar call, imma dal-bniedem ili nissejja miegħu minn 2003 u għamilt fuq 10,000 mil miegħu ntellaq u joħroġ minna it-tajjeb tiegħu biss.
Jiena Kristof Podesta, dis-sena għamilt il-Middle Series fuq l-Elusive, konna 3 skippers, jiena oħti Maja u hija Aaron. Jiena as such kont il-watch leader tal-team tal-watch tiegħi. Ġifieri aħna inqsamna ġiex timijiet, il-crew kellna 4 u konna 10 b'kollox u t-tnejn l-oħra kienu navigator u t-tnejn navigators u floaters. Kienu jitilgħu meta kellna bżonn iktar għajnuna. Dis-sena kienet diffiċli ħafna għax bdejna ma tantx kellna ħafna rieħ. Il-kondizzjonijiet kienu ibsin ħafna, ir-rieħ kienet ivarja ħafna, allura kellna vera nikkonċentraw u naħdmu lejl u nar biex inżommu d-dajsa mixja kemm jista' jkun veloċità qawwija. Ovvjament telaq matul il-ġurnata ħaġa waħda, ma titkompli matul il-lej vera tittaħdem u tkun taf u tkun ċert li kollox organizzat u jekk trid tkun tbiddel xi qluħ jew forsi għal xi raġuni rieħ iżid, inti tkun ippreparat għal kollox. U dis-sena kellna crew tajjeb ħafna, kellna nagħmlu ħafna manuvri, speċjalment meta konna għaddejn mill-Istrettu di Messina. Il-fuq minn Saqallija kellna riħ ħafif ħafna, kellna nbidlu ħafna spinnakers u kemm jista' jkun invarjaw il-korsa tagħna biex nużaw ir-riħ kemm jista' jkun favorina. Kif dorna lej Favignana u bdejna niżlin lej Pantelleria, r-riħ ġie impoppa u beda jżid naqra. U kif dorna ma' Lampedusa beda jitqawwa u ġejna jisu sparati bluħijiet żgħar lura lejn Malta. Din is-sena id-dajes Maltin jisu għadu flimkien u ma tantx infidna ħafna. Dejjem bqajna jisu kważi f'eyesight minn xulxin. Dina jisa xi ħaġa stramba ħafna, imma naħseb hemm ġiex raġuni għalfejn bqajna flimkien. Il-Middle Sea Race hija telliqa diffiċli ħafna, speċjal il-kundizzjonijiet huma jibsin. Mhux għax ir-riħ kien qawwi, għax ir-riħ ivarja ħafna. Issa hemm ħafna postijiet speċjali fej inti tkun trid tgħaddi minn post partikolar biex ma tinqabadx mingħajr riħ jew riħ kontrik. Allura persi li dawn il-dajes Maltini ilhom jagħmlu dit-telliqa ħafna żmien, jisu kulħadd kien jaf is-sigriti tal-korsa u allura jisna bqajna flimkien. Fl-istess ħin aħna għandna pika kbira bejnietna u naħseb bdejna nibżaw nieħdu xi deċiżjoni stramba fejn naqbdu nitilqu u morru direzzjoni kontra l-kulħadd u nieħdu xi riskju forsi nitilfu lill-oħrajn.
L-ikel huwa importanti ħafna, għaliex għax ma nużaw ħafna kaloriji, naħdmu l-ħin kollu, dejjem irridu naħdmu biex immexxu l-bowt, jiġifieri l-ikel huwa importanti ħafna, kemm jista' jkun dejjem nieħdu ikel diġà lest, imsajjar, ifriżat ukoll, kemm noħorġuh mill-freezer u ndaħluh ġol forn u nieklu. Ġifieri nippreparaw affarijiet bħal lasagne, mqarrun, ros fil-forn, pies, froġa, ikel frisk, dejjem ħajkun aħjar għalik milli dried food, jiġifieri ħafna nies m'għandhomx forn fuq il-dajsa, jiġifieri mhux faċli biex isajru. Kemm jista' jkun fuq il-dajsa wkoll nippruvaw nżommu t-toqol baxx, jiġifieri ma naħdux affarijiet żejda. Issa, meta tara l-ammont ta' ilma li għandek bżonn biex tħallat mal-pakketti tal-freeze dried u tara mad-dishes l-oħra li nieħdu aħna porzjonijiet lesti huma kważi l-istess, jiġifieri dejjem ħammorru għal-ikel frisk. Impossibbli nagħżel mument wieħed għal dal-Middle Sea Race, Rolex Middle Sea Race, imma hemm diversi momenti li kienu sbieħ ħafna għalina, forsi ftit emozjonali wkoll. L-istart meta bdejna ħriġna mill-port, u mbagħad momenti fejn naħsbu speċjalment li missierna qisu kien fuq id-dajsa magħna. Meta ħriġna mill-Straits of Messina, meta ġajbjajna, tilajna l-Stromboli, niftakar perfett, kien ovvjament kien matul il-lejl, ġifieri tikkonċentra ftit iżjed, u mbagħad meta tellajna l-qluħ il-A4 li huwa l-heavy downwind spinnaker tagħna ġejjin minn Lampedusa, konna qed intellaw speeds tajbin, kważi lħaqna r-rekord tagħna, fejn il-ħakna 17.2 knots, kienet moment il-lallu. Konna eċitati ħafna, kellna il-qamar kien vera sabiħ, avolja kien satejta fil-ħodu, imxejna ħafna u naħseb l-aħħar biċċa speċjalment diħlin il-port l-aħħar biċċa meta tara irnexxielna kważi lestejnija u ġejna lura qawwijin u sħaħ.
Ħdejja għandi l-Mari li huwa l-skipper ta' din il-boat li qegħdin taraw warajja. Din il-boat hija Awstraljana. Hija l-unika boat mill-Southern Hemisphere li qed tipparteċipa f'din l-edizzjoni u li pparteċipat darbtej. Din hija t-tieni darba ta' Mari. Mari, thank you for accepting this interview. Can you tell us something about your participation in this year's Rolex Middle Sea race?
Yeah, it's the second time we've done the race. It was unfinished business from last year after the really poor weather and having to withdraw. So having completed a much tougher race, the Sydney to Hobart race, we said we've got to come back and do this a second time. And we kind of like Malta, so we're thinking about doing it next year as well. So it might be a third time. So yeah, it's a very picturesque race, very nice.
For a boat coming from the Southern Hemisphere, Australia, do you think it's a disadvantage not knowing the area that much?
It is a disadvantage because the tides, the winds around corners and local knowledge is extremely important in this race. And last year we were lucky enough to have one local Maltese guy with us who can't make it this year. So we're kind of trying to put all the information away and remember what he told me about where we should and shouldn't be to try to give us a little bit of help against the locals. But as Artie shows, local knowledge is pretty helpful.
In fact, you anticipated my next question. How important it is to have someone from a local sailor or an Italian sailor sailing with you on the boat?
Yeah, it is important, and we wish that Daniel could have come this year, and we just found out a couple of days ago he can't get off work. But Anthony Camilleri's been giving me plenty of tips, having done it 15 times, and he's a great guy, so yeah, it's been really helpful.
Okay, so you actually skipper the boat, yes?
Yeah, I skipper the boat and own the boat, yeah.
So who is the person that you liaise with during the race?
On the boat, it's there's another friend of mine that's we used to be a Bavaria service manager in Australia who's done the Fastnet race and Sydney to Hobart race, and him and I will have a bit of a chat, a bit of a consensus about what we're going to do next and share the blame around if we make a bad decision.
Okay, what the forecast for the next 5-6 days? It's already showing that the first 2 days of the race you're going to have a very moderate wind. What do you think about it?
Yeah, well, moderate wind would be better than last year because last year we had okay wind for the first half a day, and then we all spent quite a lot of time parked up, just sitting around looking at each other, and I noticed a lot of people were swimming. So hopefully this year we've got just enough speed so we don't have to go swimming. Yeah, if we've got a moderate for the first couple of days and then speed up a little bit later in the race, that would be nice, and get a bit of a faster run home. And we'd be kind of looking forward to that. So.
How many crew are you on the boat?
We're actually doing it with 4 this year. We figured after last year, the worst weather in the history of the race, maybe statistically it might be quite a light year. So we said, let's save a bit of weight and just have 4 of us.
Okay,
and,
so you split the shifts in two. Two are taking care of the helm and the other 2 are resting, yeah?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think too much resting will happen. We'll have a little bit of rest here and there, but during the day we'll probably be all up just sitting back and relaxing a little bit, helming, enjoying the conditions, enjoying the scenery. So not many races in the world you've got 2 volcanoes, so it's the only one pretty much.
Mari, thank you for your interview and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you very much. We really enjoyed it here.